Hey friends, it's me, Ebony Otaku, arranging stuff on her desk. The well-rounded nerd. So, cool weekend this weekend. So, in a little bit, I'm going to start painting my Titan. I have a Warhound. And we 3D printed it, and it's huge. I think I might do a short video just on that and the whatnot. Good God, it's huge. But I thought I'd knock out a couple of videos before I did. At the time of filming this video, a lot happened in my life. I've just gotten through those things, and now I'm just trying to get back into my normal now and having some fun. Yesterday and the day before, my husband and I just took a couple of days for ourselves. Because I had some days off from work for reasons, and we went to both of our favorite hobby stores. There's two hobby stores that we love the most in the town we live in, and one of them, like right now, they primarily focus on like painting and miniatures, but they're opening a second location where they'll have like gaming set up and all that kind of stuff, and we really love them. Their painters give us a lot of really good advice. They're really fun, and we just enjoy the people. It was the first date he took me on when I came to visit here, actually. He took me miniature painting. I got to pick one out and paint it. And do I have that miniature? I do, actually. It was a Baby Yoda. Here, he's on my desk. I didn't know if I had him on my desk or somewhere else in the house, but this particular store, we did what's called a paint and take, and I bought a figure. Well, he bought it because it was a date, and then I painted it right there, and they had all the paints, the brushes, everything you needed, and we were there for like 4 hours, and I painted this Baby Yoda on that day, and it was a good time. And he had also printed me, as a gift, he printed me a Pochita. And, no, I take it back. I got that out of order. My then boyfriend, we were just dating. We weren't fiancés yet. He printed me this one. This is one he printed. And, yeah, I painted this one that day. And then he printed Pochita for me as well. And Pochita took me a couple of tries to get right because getting the right orange was hard. His little pull handle tail broke off. He's going to print me another one eventually, and I'll paint him. But yeah, I have a little Pochita that I painted. And then this is the one I got that day that I bought. You can tell because it has a stand. But this is the one that I bought from them because the paint and take is like $10. So you get a figure and you get to sit there as long as you want and paint, and it's great. So if you're looking for an idea, if you plan on opening a store or something, that's like a lot of fun. But they're also professional painters, so all the paint. What just happened to the light? Do y'all see that? Let's see if I can fix this. Okay, this is real funny. Okay, fast forward like 30 seconds if you don't want to be mildly grossed out. I talked, and a fleck of meh, and it landed right on the camera lens. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. But yeah, this little guy I painted that day, and I love him. He's great. So yeah, that's what we do. Is we go to our different hobby stores and have a good time. So we did that one day. We did a paint and take, and I worked on my little Eldar ships. I'm going to finish this weekend as well. And then the other thing we did was yesterday, we went to our favorite hobby store, and I'll probably put some pictures up in real time of that now that life's getting back to normal. We went and did Warhammer all day. So we did Aeronautica, and that was about an hour-long game. He won that one. Aeronautica is not the most difficult Warhammer game to get into if you can find things. However, if you watch Ryan Hollinger, he's got shirts that say that. I love Ryan Hollinger. However, accents are fun. But we did, in that, he won. Because I do Necrons. He does only Orcs and Grots. And it doesn't matter what it is. In Warhammer, it's Orcs and Grots for him. We don't do fantasy. And I know in fantasy, Orcs and Grots are a big deal. But the Orcs and Grots are funny in sci-fi. In fantasy, they belong there. That is his logic. So, yeah, we did Aeronautica first. It was my Necrons versus his, and he ended up barely eking out because I only had 3 planes and he had like 9. No, he had 7 to my 3, and I took out more than half of his forces, and at the end it was 3 of his planes, 2 were wounded versus 1 of mine, so I did pretty good, considering. The hard part of Aeronautica is learning the maneuvers, like because it's dog fighting. It's, roll the die dog fighting. So just figuring out, okay, so if I start here and then when I turn, it's going to go this way. So anyway, I got some more practice in, so when I go play with the guys again, I think I'll be a little bit better than I was last time. And then we played one-page rules OPR. So we did Grimdark Future, but we didn't do Firefight. We did Havoc Brothers. And that was a lot of fun. And we set objectives. And actually, it was his idea to have objectives because I've done Firefight. I like Grimdark. Grimdark is fun. And the great thing about OPR is you can bring any models. Like, I can figure out how to play with Baby Yoda. Like, anyone with any models can bring them. Which is what makes it cool, because then you can go across different properties. But it is fan made, but real good fan made. So if you're trying to use your figures and everyone doesn't have the same thing, OPR, pick a game, knock yourselves out. But he was like, let's do this different version we haven't done before. We'll have objectives. And we went to another hobby store that we really love that does that. So one day we're at the paint place, and the next day we're at the more gaming kind of oriented place. They paint too. But they've got the best gaming setup in town right now. Other places working on their plays, but it's fine. So, we set up our scenery and all that. It was really funny because I think there's a 40K tournament going on there right now. Because yesterday there were a bunch of people there in the middle of the day. When I say yesterday was a Friday. And I was off. If anybody from my work is watching. We were just having husband-wife time. But it was weird because we went in the middle of the day. And for there to be that many people there, but then we were like, oh, there's a tourney tomorrow, so there are tons of people practicing. So we gathered up what scenery was left, and we did the OPR. And my husband was like, let's do this one with objectives. I was like, okay, cool, objectives. We'll have objectives. He forgot about the objectives. So he after the first turn, he got so focused because I had 2 squads of units that have flamers, and the flamers can decimate. They can dice roll, knock out a whole bunch of guys at once. So he was so focused on taking those out, he forgot about the objectives. So I captured 3 of the 5 objectives, and he didn't even notice. I was like, did he remember? And then we ended up having to go because he's right now, which is getting me to what I'm doing this weekend. She does an intro. She can't help herself. Which is getting me to the source of what I'm going to look at right now. He had a woodworking weekend with some guy buddies of his. They're all crafty. Engineers are crafty. That's what they do. All these engineers down here, they all build stuff. Girls, I'm just letting you know. Get you an engineer. They will build you whatever you want. It's great. Or 3D print it. Or have a friend who can. It's great. But he forgot. And then it got to be 4:30. I was like, don't you have to go to that thing? And he was like, oh yeah, so we'll just do one more turn and we'll finish. And we did. And he was like, so where? Oh. He was about to touch one of the objectives that my guy was next to but had not touched yet. And you can't claim the objective until you touch it. And I didn't quite have the inches to touch it. And he decided that he needed to go knock out my flamers instead. And he had a big beefy character that could have because my Praetorian was my demon. And he was right next to it, but he hadn't touched it yet. And I had some way across the board that he wouldn't have gotten to anyway, because one of the objectives was way that way, and we were clear across on the other side. And he just, yeah. But it would have ended that way anyway, because I have flyers. So my flyers literally, they were guarding one objective, so I moved a squad to take over that objective, and then their next turn I have the flyers go take another one, because flyers don't have the barrier restriction, so they just went woo woo and landed on it. So it would have been about 3-2 basically. 3-2 me. So he took Aeronautica, but I won Grimdark. But that brings me to what I'm looking at today, because I mentioned my husband was going on a woodworking weekend. Yeah, I know. Everyone has things they like to do. So yesterday I used my favorite dice that I cannot roll with in any game because they are dingy. These are my dingy die. If you have not seen them before, I bought these. They are D&D dice, but I use them as counters in other games. I use them as counters in Magic. I use them in as counters in any kind of Warhammer game or tabletop gaming. And if I do play D&D with the family, I would love to roll these, but they are as dangerous as they look. This is like a pound in my hand. Like, it's not, like, in the grand scale of life, they're not heavy. But in the grand scale of dice, they are crazy heavy. And they're steel. But look at them. Look. If you hear extra noise, I got a college student playing Fortnite in the next room. What can I tell you? But yeah, look, they match my Wordbearers, which is why I specifically wanted these. So yesterday I used these as my counters. I placed them whenever I took over an objective. This was my objective marker. But because they are so dangy, they dangy. That's my 20. Because they are so dangy, no, this is my 20, sorry. They will hurt you, and I cannot roll these. In D&D you are supposed to roll, but I cannot roll these on anybody's table or mat for obvious reasons. Like, look, I'm not kidding you. Like, I'm gonna drop one on my desk. Listen to this. If you can hear it, I'm gonna drop it close. Okay, I just nicked my desk. That's fine. It's fine. But yeah, these are we call these the dangy dice. And in my giant dice bag where I keep all my Warhammer dice, they have to stay in this leather pouch, which now I can use for something else. Because my husband, last night, when he went out with his woodworking friends, because last night they set up for their woodworking, BTW, okay, before I get into that nerdy dating advice for the day, it is so healthy to have hobbies that you support your partner doing. Now, look, me and my husband are real lucky. We are both very similar. Like 85% of the time, we're into the same thing. But there are some key differences. And different does not mean better than. It just means a different than. This is my trainer coming out. Different does not mean better than. It just means different than. And he is somebody who likes to work with wood. Like, he can make things. We are right now in the process of building him a workshop. It's a garage, but it's going to be a workshop for him. And then I get the garage attached to the house. It's going to be half a place I park my car. And then all the walls will have all my cooking stuff. Like, I have so many cooking appliances. I get my second suburban housewife fridge. Because you're not a suburban housewife until you get. I'm not even a housewife at work, but you're not a suburban housewife until you get your second fridge. We're doing some things to the house because I had built a brand new house when I lived in Nashville, and now I get a new kitchen and the garage, and we're going to do some other things in the house. But first he gets his workshop, but so he can woodwork. Like, he has all these tools and stuff that he can't set up and use. He wants to buy a boat kit and build a boat. Like, he can do that kind of stuff. Like, he has a lathe. He makes bowls, spoons, all kinds of stuff. He can make candles. He makes his own candles out of beeswax. Like, yeah. Get you a nerd. Like, but that's not something I'm even a little bit interested in. I'm like, I want a 3D printer. I want an FDM printer, specifically. We have picked out the one I'm getting for Christmas. Do you think I'm going to be the one running that printer? Where's my water? I'm not running that printer. I married a dork. I married an engineer. I'm not running that printer. I want the result of the printer. I don't actually want to deal with it. So on that score, we're different. I love to cook. Not just like to cook. I love to cook. And this isn't even like a gender thing. They're like, most of the top chefs on the planet are men. Okay. Like, we all know that. Most kitchens are run by men. Not all, most. But I love making things from scratch. Like, every time there's inclement weather in the winter and we get snowed in for a week, I learn a new thing to make. One year I learned how to make bread. One year I learned how to make pickles. I just started opening cabinets and going, okay, so what's here? And internet helped me. And I learned how to make all kinds of things. I'm about to put up some boozy peaches for the winter so I can hand them out as Christmas presents later this year. So we're very different on those things. Like, before I showed up, him and the son just, they existed. And then I show up and they get food. Like, real food. So on those scores we're different, but we support each other. Like, if there's like a new ingredient or something that I want to try out, he is very much like, hey, get the thing. If that makes you happy, if it makes you happy, it makes me happy. If you like it, I love it. And I'm the same way. Like, once his garage is built, like, there's this saw, what's it called? A saw stop that he wants. It's not cheap, but he's wanted one for a long time. And, because of life, hasn't been able to get one, and we're in a position that he's going to be able to get one. So when his garage is built, get that saw stop. The reason it's called a saw stop is apparently, like, if you touch it with your flesh by accident, like, the blade just goes away. and your hand gets to stay on your body. I'm like, yes, that sounds like a good thing because I need you to keep all your fingers. So, but he's out doing, the woodworking thing. So we do a lot together. Like we spend, if we're not working from home, when we're working from home, we're spending almost all of our time together. Like his office is, over there. But, we are very fortunate that we have so much in common. But even where we don't, we support the other one's hobbies. Like, it's good for him to go have his dude weekend building, because there's oftentimes I go and do Taekwondo with my people. And this year he went on the Taekwondo trip with me, which I've yet to make that video, and I need to put that video together. Just life happened and I forgot. But yeah, so like, support one another's things. Builds camaraderie, builds trust, and who knows, you might get like a set of bowls and spoons out of it. But his buddy that he's going to do that with, who is actually a SCA member, that's how they know each other. They met through the SCA. This is scientific for creative anachronism. That's a whole other thing. But he actually had some stuff made that my husband got for me for my Dainty Die. Dainty Die. This is a dice box, and it is, yes, good. I want to say this is, it's stained, so I honestly can't tell kind of what it is. I think it's cherry, actually, now that I've smelled it. But yeah, his friend had some things made, because he's a crafter, and look at this beautiful wood and velvet lined dice box. Now watch this, watch what we do. Dainty Die. We call them the Dainty Die, the Dainty Die. Now we just line them up neatly in here, because this is a D&D dice box that he made. And these are technically D&D die, but being all matchy with my dice, I can't help myself. So now the Dainty Die have a place to live and not poke me or my big fancy bag when they're traveling. So Dainty Die box. But wait, he got me this as well so that I can roll a wooden dice tray with a felt bottom. Same wood too. I think cherry, I don't know for sure because it's stained. It's good wood, very well made. But now I have a dice box to roll in, and probably when I get my FDM printer, I'll end up printing myself a custom dice tray, because with the FDMs they use spools instead of the resin, so you can have like up to 4 colors in the one that we're getting. Me, it's mine, but I'm not running out. But I'll probably end up printing a dice tower at some point, but there's other stuff I want to print first. But look. And I didn't hurt anything that wasn't my property. Like, when I picked these out, I feel like it told me they were heavy steel on the website. And I feel like I ignored that, because they match my Wordbearers. Matching dice matter. That's not that I don't have. I have the Wordbearers dice. These are my Slaneshi dice for my Emperor's Children. But yeah, I've got the dice. Because matching dice matter. But I'm gonna end up having to get more dice, so it's good now I have another freed up dice bag. Because what am I working on? I'm working on the Titan today. Aeronautica has its own bag, and my Aeronautica dice are in here. So, when I finish those Eldar, I don't think I'm going to build any more Aeronautica after these, because I have 6 or 7 Necrons, and then I'll end up with 9 Eldars. So, I think I'll be done with that. That's all I want from that. I love Aeronautica, but I'm not, as into it as the rest of the games. Because then once I finish my Titan, I decided the Titan is going to be a Chaos Wordbearer. I know, right? But yeah, he's going to be a Chaos Wordbearer. So I have so much Wordbearers red layer to use today. It's going to be great. I'm doing something that I've never done before. I'm going to be airbrushing color. I usually only use my airbrush for priming and base coating. That's all I've done for it. And now I'm She's stepping out of her comfort zone. Okay, it's a huge. You'll see it. I'm gonna record something about it, but it's huge, and it's the biggest thing I've ever painted. Like, come here, Elmo. He's about the size of Tickle Me Elmo. His batteries are long dead. I just squeezed them. But yeah, he's about this big. All right. I told my husband. I said, would I get him built? We're transporting him to tournament to games and stuff. I'm gonna go to the thrift store and get like a baby carrier. And you know what? We're meant to be together because he was like, do it. See, that's when you know you found your nerdy match, when you just enable each other's bullshit. Great. But I'm happy. I have a case for my dainty die, and look, they just fit nicely together. And then this little thing here is when they're not being rolled and destroying people's fingers, you put the dice here. So I'm super happy with this. I'm just letting you know, like, look, I'm not saying that you can find a perfect relationship out there. Like, nobody said that. But you are better off finding someone who is into what you're into as best as possible, because then you can enable each other's BS. Great. I mean, like, I already had a crazy collection before he showed up, but I bought him like 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago he bought me this one. It was a whole surprise too. He got it for my birthday. It was a huge box. I did not know what it was, and then when I opened it, I nearly passed out. I was like, because y'all know how much he is, right? Or was. I don't know what it is now. Sorry. You got to eBay his butt now. But, yeah, I know what I paid for this one. Alright, so I can guess what he paid for this one, because I was wavering on getting Metroplex. And did I even mention him? He just did it, because that's the kind of guy he is. But that's okay. You know what I'm making us for dinner today? Pulled barbecued chicken. That's how this works. You find your matching nerd, and then on the parts where you don't match the other, you fill in the gaps. It's great. It's a good time. It's a good time for everybody. I got a couple more videos to film today because I'm going to an anime convention on Sunday, and which is tomorrow, so I need to pick out a costume. I think I'll film picking out a costume. I'm leaning towards Haruko Harahara because it's gonna rain and she wears boots. So yeah, I was gonna do Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but I'm not dragging that big old tail through mud and rain and ick. So we might have to go Haruko Harahara. Yeah, and then the question is what I do with all this. But yeah, is this not the greatest thing ever? And if you don't think it is, you have the right to be wrong. Joking. Mildly. Anywho, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.